Hello and welcome to another Steel First Speaks Heavy Hitters Deck Tech First Thoughts video. Here we are with Olympia Prizefighter. Now Olympia caught my eye. His ability is so simple. The first time each of your attacks wins a wager, create a gold token. And that has you thinking, right? This is a Decimator Axe deck, right? Decimator Axe is so hard to defend. Every non-equipment card that gets, the first non-equipment card that gets defends against it gets half of its base. It's really awkward to defend. So with Wager, this seems pretty good, right? And you can run the new Grains of Blood Spill to get free Vigor tokens, and you can run Refraction Bolters to get Go Again if you need to. There's a lot of good things going here. You get the Wager from the Prize Galea, you get Brave Forge Braces for the defense. And I thought, well, there is something there. So I did start doing my research and starting to see what are other people putting in. And I kind of came across a few lists and ended up pulling this together, right? And I think this is a pretty good starting place for anyone looking to explore Olympia. I will say that it does seem that Olympia hasn't got a payoff card, and James White did say in his latest interview with Fluke, which I did a reaction video to, that you can find on my channel in the last week or so. The interview was about half an hour long. I ended up recording an hour and a half of commentary on the half an hour video, which is all up there on my channel. So if you're wondering what James White said, and also what the bits that he didn't say, and what are the questions and the follow-up that Fluke didn't ask, go and watch that video, because I think I had a substantive amount of extra discussion to the video, but I think I had a lot of quality thoughts and commentary to that video as well. So go and check that out if you want to know my thoughts on that. But in that video, he did say, sorry for the tangent, that Olympia wasn't finished. So the story that went with Olympia, for those of you who don't know, is that there was another warrior hero who focused around an ability called Provoke, which I assume was forcing your opponents to defend. And basically late in testing, when they got to the CC part of the testing, because they usually just start with the idea and they refine the idea and then they test it. When they got to the CC part of the testing and it got on for a while, they realized that it just was too powerful in the competitive environment. So they had to kill it. And then they were like, well, what do we put in? And obviously they were scrambling for ideas. And the idea probably was because Betsy was already in the game with Wager, but there wasn't a Wager-focused warrior. The idea probably just came to be, why don't we just have a Wager-focused warrior? And they created Olympia. And Olympia is quite a straightforward ability. It's just like whenever you would a wager, get a gold token. But there isn't really a payoff for gold in Olympia. And James White basically clarified in that video that they will be printing a payoff for him in the next set or two. So if you're wondering, hey, I'm getting all this gold, I'm not doing anything with it, at some point in the future there will be a payoff for Olympia. So it may be worth getting invested in him now, getting excited about him now. And if you like his art and all those kind of things, I would recommend doing that. You don't have to wait for this hero to be perfect to get in and enjoy it. Now, if I was a warrior player, which I'm not all the time, I do play it a bit on Talishar, I have played this deck once or twice, I would be excited about Olympia. I think his art's great. I think his theme is great. And I think the wager mechanic is really interesting and gives a lot of skill ceiling for people to play around with. So let's break down the cards. So Double Down, 2 costs. You may destroy a gold you control rather than paying Double Down's cost. Easy for Olympia. The next wager card that wagers his turn gets +3 and overpower, so it's really easy to hit. If a hero will create 1 or more tokens, they instead create that many +1. So you can instantly imagine destroying a gold to attack with a 7 power Decimator Axe plus, warrior attack reactions. And if it hits, you get 1 plus gold. So let's look at Hold'em. The next warrior attack this turn gets +3, and when this attacks, you may wager a Vigor token with them. So if these two go in together, you're either spending 3 or, if you destroyed a gold, you're spending 1 to go in with something that will create you 2 Vigor. Brilliant. Money Where Your Mouth Is actually generates you more gold. So you could go in for 6. You could go in with 10 on the Decimator Axe, with, of course, its own ability that makes it hard to block and overpower, and you'd probably hit. Then we have the OG Overpower, obviously 3 resources, +4, +2 more if it's defended from hand. Really good at making attacks hit. Take the Upper Hand, which is +3 if you've wagered. Cash In as a payoff for all the gold you've got. Iron Song Determination to help your attacks hit as well, just +1 and dominate. Emboldened Blade, this is an interesting one. I'm not sure how well this is going to turn out yet, but I'm excited for it. Turn a face down card in any arsenal face up. If it's a defense reaction, destroy it. Your next weapon attack gets +1. So against turtle decks or guardians, this could be really cool just for stopping them defense reacting you out. Felling Swing is +4 for 3 on a blue. It's amazing. Then the Quicksilver is Go Again. Now, Go Again in this deck is a bit strange because you don't have a lot to do with Go Again. So it is a bit strange, but Glint is probably mostly for card draw, I imagine. I kind of think why I put it in. I think I put it in just because it's card draw. But I think if you were looking things to cut, potentially this Go Again would be something that comes out pretty quickly. You haven't really put in a lot of other attack actions. Heart of Yendal, because this is ultimately a slow deck. You know, you're swinging the axe every turn, so you will have a chance to gain life. Last ditch effort in case you do get to the end of the deck and you still haven't killed them. Here's your chance to kill them. And I mean, I guess your late game play, my late game idea is that you play Glint the Quicksilver into a last ditch effort off the Decimator Axe. But the odds are you're probably not going to have the resources or the life to do that. So I still think Glint might potentially come out. Sharpen the Steel, I have a feeling we can do better, so I might start looking for something better. But at the moment it's in there as a placeholder. Blue. This round's on me. Great for fatigue, great for slowing down the game. Up the ante, the specialization I think is just really good. It creates 3 wagers as an attack reaction. Imagine doubling down on Up the Ante. Now I will say that unless you wager with something else first, it won't have overpower when it's relevant. But you could imagine a situation where you go money where your mouth is, double down, up the ante on the react, make 4 gold tokens, 2 vigor, 2 might. It'll be really good. Vigorous Wind-Up, I love. Vigorous tokens, just for the cost of a blue, is great. Warmonger Diplomacy, great for slowing down the game. And then a rake of other defense reactions and things for the games against decks that come in hard, and commanding performance to attack the arsenal when you need to. So that's kind of like my take on Olympia. I think he is, due to the wager mechanic and needing them to hit to get gold tokens, I think using Decimator Great Axe is the play. He doesn't really buff the axe in any way that's meaningful, but I think all you really need to do is wager and ask your opponent to block to cover the wager, and then let the Decimator Great Axe take 3 cards or 2 cards from their hand just to do that. Because remember that if someone blocks with a 3 and that becomes a 2, then suddenly to block a 6, they need to block with 3 cards or 2 cards and a piece of armor. So suddenly that +3 from any of these abilities makes the axe get through 1 point of damage or take extra cards from hand. So in theory, even a +3 on any wager makes it very, very easy to do. Okay? So that's the main thing to consider. Okay? And I think that's what makes this deck quite interesting. I even think you might even put Money Where Your Mouth Is blue instead of the Sharpened Steel, to be honest. I'm debating it. There's still changes to be made. There's still a lot of refinement to be done. This was just my idea of giving you a list that can sort of get you started, if you will. He also has Hot Streak, but I don't think you can rely on that to go again, so it's not as viable. So that's my list for Olympia. As I said, I've started to do more deck lists recently, just because I know that I'm quite good at explaining stuff. So going around and researching and looking at what people are doing and putting together a list that makes sense based on what I've seen out there is what I'm good at. I'm good at researching, I'm good at explaining, and I'm hoping these videos will give people a bit of a jump start into how to play the hero. Obviously, I'm not going to claim that these are meta decks. They're not supposed to be. They're just things to get us started. When the meta decks actually start coming out from tournaments, I will do reviews and coverage of the tournaments and what's going on and all the exciting stuff, as I have been doing for years. And I will bring that all to you and tell you what the meta looks like and what people are doing and what's working and why. But for now, people have asked me what my thoughts are on new heroes and heavy hitters because they've seen how excited I am for them. So I wanted to put together a few videos on the new heroes and heavy hitters and cover off the bits that I think are really, really good. And this is my take on Olympia, who I think is a really interesting hero. He's a warrior, so he's not for me. Remember, I have made the tough decision to not stock every single card in the game, and it was difficult because when I see a deck like this, I want to sleeve it up, I want to go play it. It seems like my style, but ultimately, just from a monetary perspective, I picked a certain number of heroes that I knew I was going to want to play on a consistent basis. You know, Runeblade, Guardian, Ninja, Illusionist, and Assassin. And I started selling the cards off for every other class. I think I had Runeblade as well. And I started selling the cards off for every other class just to save myself some money. And that, of course, has paid off in a set like Heavy Hitters. When this set comes out and I just do not need to buy the entire set's worth of cards, I have just bought the Guardian cards, and that is it. And when Druid comes out, I will just buy all the Druid cards and sell my entire collection and just play Druid for the rest of my life. Anyway, as always, I've been Steel First. This is Steel First Speaks. The channel is doing a lot of interesting stuff at the moment involving just deck techs and reporting and news. I also have one or two other big projects on the back burner that you will hear about very soon. My deadline for getting them out is before I go traveling to Japan, which I will be doing at the start of February. So, expect to see those from me quite soon. That includes my new player hero guide, which I have completely refreshed to a whole new format and style and everything, and that is being rolled out hot off the presses as they go. I've already done all the Heavy Hitters recordings. They're just being edited slightly with a bit of help from someone else. And then I'm also working on a huge project that I can't talk about just yet, but it is a bit of spice that will come out soon. So thank you all for listening. As remember, like and subscribe. 60% of people do not like and subscribe, which is why I have to say it, because it is how I get my content creator ego boost. And if you don't do it, it makes me feel sad. So if you've liked this video, do like and subscribe, and we'll come back to you very soon with more.